Welcome to the Mugiwara Sketches YouTube channel, buddy. In today's video, we unravel the untold story of Shanks, exploring how the loss of his arm shaped not only his character but also the destiny of others in the One Piece universe. If you're a fan of the series, you won't want to miss this. Let's get started. One of the most major characters in the world of One Piece is Shanks. Because of the Romance Dawn arc, he was also one of the first characters Oda added to his story. It was clear from the start of the story that Shanks would be an important figure going forward. He made Luffy want to become a pirate and set him on the path to find the One Piece. Shanks didn't show up in many scenes at the start of the story, but he made a big difference. At the end of the Romance Dawn arc, Shanks lost his arm while trying to save Luffy's life. This was one of the most important scenes for him. Lots of fans have asked why Oda cut off his arm, and the answer is very easy to understand. Part 1. How Shanks lost his arm. The very first episode of One Piece is where Shanks loses his arm. It was only shown to fans in flashbacks, but this event happened 10 years before Luffy started on his journey. Luffy lived in Fusha Village for most of his childhood. It was there that he met Shanks, a pirate who had been living in the East Blue for about a year. The group of Shanks and Luffy quickly became great friends, and Luffy really liked Shanks. He wanted to join Shanks' group in the end, so he often tried to show him how brave he was, since the red-haired pirate was someone he looked up to a lot. One day, though, a mountain bandit named Aguma came down and scolded Shanks. Luffy was so furious that he couldn't do anything to stop it. It made Luffy very angry when Shanks laughed off Luffy's request for Shanks to fight back. This made Luffy decide to take matters into his own hands. As you might expect, Luffy got into trouble, and Aguma took him there with him. It wasn't long before the Sea King showed up and would have eaten both of them if Shanks hadn't saved Luffy by breaking his arm. Before he could save what he thought was the head of the next generation, Shanks scared the sea monster away. Following this, Shanks gave Luffy his beloved straw hat and dared him to meet him at the very top. Because of him, Luffy is now an emperor of the sea, and it will only be a matter of time before they meet again. Part 2. Oda's original plan for Shanks. Shanks' lost arm is one of the most noticeable things about him. As fans know, Shanks is a very strong pirate. He would have been even stronger if he had his other arm back. It is strange to learn that Oda did not want to cut off Shanks' arm at first. In other words, fans might have seen Shanks with both arms in the story if Oda's editor hadn't told them not to. He said Shanks should have lost an arm to make the story more interesting. Maybe the editor thought the scene wasn't moving enough without someone giving up something, and Shanks losing his arm made it more powerful for him. Needless to say, he wasn't wrong when he said that Shanks losing his arm would make the scene much better. This part of One Piece is famous because Shanks gave up his arm for Luffy. It is the most famous scene from this arc, and it has been talked about many times in the show's past. Even now, fans remember that scene as the beginning of everything. Additionally, it is clear that Luffy's already high regard for Shanks grew even stronger following this. Shanks was ready to give up his arm and maybe even his life for Luffy, which shows that he really did care about him like a caretaker. It also taught Luffy what it means to give something. When Sanji was ready to give up his life for Zeph, Luffy stopped him by telling him that Zeph didn't give up his legs so Sanji could give up his life. In some ways, this made Luffy grow up very quickly, and it still affects the way he acts today. Part 3. How Shanks' character was affected. Shanks losing his arm had a big effect on Luffy and saved him when he was very young. It also had a big effect on Shanks. Shanks was one of the smartest pirates in the Grand Line before he lost his arm. Whitebeard heard a lot of good things about him. People had a very different view of Shanks after he came back from the East Blue without an arm. Whitebeard said that Shanks lost his arm while facing a powerful enemy, but Shanks just said that he betted on the new age. And it was clear that Shanks didn't feel bad about what he did. He was proud to have set Luffy on the path to becoming the Pirate King. At the same time, Shanks moved up after breaking his arm. Shanks used to be just a top pirate, but after losing his arm 6 years ago, he became one of the 4 emperors of the sea, even though he had lost what looked like his dominant arm. Shanks might have been even stronger today if he hadn't lost his arm. There would have been no competition at all among the Yonko. Oda cutting off his arm made him more human in a way, even though he was already very powerful without it. Most importantly, Shanks' rivalry with Dracula Mihawk changed a lot after he lost his arm. There is a lot of history between these two figures, and they have fought many battles that Whitebeard said could be heard across the Grand Line for a long time. People say that their fights were famous, and most fans think that most of them, if not all of them, ended in a draw. In the event that Shanks lost an arm, Mihawk would not be able to beat him because he would feel bad about winning because he would think the victory was not fair. This also made Mihawk look for a new competitor. He thought he had lost his biggest enemy, but then he saw Zoro. Even though Mihawk quickly got rid of Zoro, he knew that this person would one day rise to great heights and face him for the title of best. Right now, Zoro has also hit great heights. He will definitely catch up to Mihawk and maybe even beat him in the end. At the same time, Luffy will meet Shanks again, and fans will get to see an amazing reunion between these two characters. If Shanks' arm that he gave up for Luffy were worth more when these two met, it might be worth more. Fans can only relax for now and wait for this amazing meeting to happen. Since this is the last story in One Piece, this meeting is getting very close. And there you have it, the untold story of Shanks, a tale of sacrifice, impact, and evolution. As One Piece enters its final saga, the anticipation builds for the reunion between Luffy and Shanks. What role will Shanks' missing arm play in this encounter? Only time will tell. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay updated on all things about One Piece. Thank you very much for visiting the Mugiwara Sketches YouTube channel, buddy. We hope you enjoy our funny sketch videos and anime reviews. Don't forget to subscribe to continue joining us on our joyful journey in the world of anime. If you have any wishes, questions, or suggestions for our next videos, feel free to express your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you very much for your support, and until we meet again. See you next time, buddy. What is One Piece anime? One Piece is a manga and anime story about a young boy named Monkey D. Luffy who wants to be the king of the pirates in the world. As a child, he eats a devil fruit, a strange plant that makes him able to stretch like rubber. Before the show starts, Luffy goes out into the world for the first time and starts to gather a group of pirates. The main group grows over time, but it starts with Luffy, Nami the Navigator, and a swordsman named Roronoa Zoro. At some point, Luffy and his friends are known as the Straw Hat Pirates, and they go on many exciting adventures across the ocean. One Piece is a lot of fun because it's silly. Luffy goes from island to island around the world in the series. Each island has its own setting and theme. It's a pretty fantastical world full of animals that look like people, live skeletons, and other delightfully strange things. Within moments the group is in a winter scene, and the next they are on a tropical island full of giants. The show is full of silly and bright details. For example, Zoro holds a sword in his mouth, a scary military boss wears a cute bulldog hat, and people don't use phones to talk to each other instead. They use special transponder snails that can send and receive messages. Luffy is a carefree person who just wants to eat a tasty meal and laugh at bad jokes. Even though there are some funny parts in the series, a lot of One Piece is about freedom. During his travels, Luffy often takes up guns to help his friends and encourages others to do the same against pirates and government-backed military occupations. The characters in Luffy and his crew get stronger with each fight, which is typical for shonen manga. A lot of the story is about how Luffy beats a problem that seemed impossible to solve and finds some kind of secret power. After each fight, Luffy and his team get stronger and move closer to his main goal, which is to find the One Piece. Why is it called One Piece? The first part of both the manga and the anime shows that Pirate King Gold D. Roger is telling the truth about the mythical wealth called the One Piece. One Piece is the name of the show because Luffy wants to find the One Piece and become the next Pirate King. One of Luffy's main goals in the show is mentioned in the show's title. What is the One Piece? The answer to this question is still one of the biggest secrets in the series. It's been more than 1,000 episodes, and we still don't know what One Piece is. We know that the One Piece is the name of the treasure that Gold D. Roger collected on his travels because of details in the manga. We still don't know a lot about the treasure, though. There are a lot of ideas from fans about what the One Piece is, but we still don't know what it is or even if it's real. The One Piece could just be the friends Luffy makes along the way.